Hey everyone, Empress Justice here. If you'd like to check out daily readings, you can check them out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you'd like to check out my July 2022 and full moon and Auto shadow readings, I'm sorry about the noise in the background. That's my washing machine. You can check them out on Empress Justice Tarot YouTube. Now, update on myself. Um, Today's been really lovely. The weather has been beautiful and hot. I got my legs out today and it was great. um, I really want to go down the beach, but I don't know how advisable it is to really expose myself to the elements like that. Um, it's absolutely beautiful. Like you go outside, it is so gorgeous and warm, but it's going to, at some point, it's going to stray over into being like just uncomfortably hot. And I don't know if I want to be out in the elements when it's hot like that. Um, but yeah, it's all right. Today's been kind of peaceful. It's nothing really wrong. Um, Yesterday did a lot of crying. That's a combination of being tired and the Red Army approaching. You know what I'm saying? And just the full moon energies because it's a super moon as well. Another tarot reader said it's basically a super moon, which I actually didn't know. I didn't know it was another super moon. Seem to be having quite a few of those lately. So it's a combination of those three things that made me rather emotional, but I'm actually very happy for it. I'm happy for the opportunity to be vulnerable because it's important. And we often think that being vulnerable is a matter of like not being strong, like being weak and vulnerable is the same. And I feel like we really need to get that out of our heads because vulnerability can also be a strength depending on how you use it. And one of the things that I've realized is that joy is important as a targeted individual. It's like the more you're in need, the more marginalized you are, the more you go through, is the more that self love and doing what makes you happy, regardless of what anyone thinks, that's when it becomes more important than ever. Now, having a sense of community is important as well. You need to have pockets of community in your life where it counts, that are strong, that are aligned with your core beliefs. So, community is important. I'm not saying it isn't, but finding your joy is probably the most important. And, at a time where TIs are being tortured and maimed, and like a lot of us are being killed as well, we recently lost another one. Stephen Lowndes, his name is. We recently lost another TI that was a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago. So yeah, it's important for us to focus on our joy. If we're, I think it's the sun talking, but it is important for us to focus on our joy. And like I said before, the more you're being, it's weird because it's weird because when you're disabled and when you're marginalized and when you're a targeted individual, or if you're queer or something, then you become more in need of love than the average person, right? Because you're marginalized, or you've got something that other people find distasteful or others you, right? And I've always known this, but it's almost like the more people don't give you love is the more that you need. And the more that you need is the more that you have to provide for yourself. It's one thing to get what you want, other people have to give you that. But you have to find a way to give yourself what you need at all times. And the more you need love, the more you need care, the more you need nurturing, and the more you need understanding, is the more that you have to give that to yourself. You have to fill your own cup before you can fill anybody else's cup as a disabled person, or as somebody with a different sexuality, or somebody who's a woman, or different race of person, or even working class or underclass, the more you're lacking in what you actually need, is the more you have to provide those needs for yourself, and the more you have to kind of lock out anybody who doesn't facilitate in you getting that for yourself. You have to be like super self-interested in a way. You really got to think about yourself, and you can't think about anyone else around you. You kind of have to be like, you know focused on self-love, because nobody else is really going to give it to you in the way that you want. And after a while, what will happen is that spirit will kind of filter a lot of draining elements out of your life, and then they'll replace it with something that actually heals you and nourishes you. And then that changes you as a person, and then it kind of builds on this positive cycle. So as tempting as it is when you're being tortured all the fucking time, because remember, my gang stalking case is mild in comparison to a lot of victims. But when you focus on your joy first, it will carry you through, even in times where you're debilitated, or where you're just in bed all day. It will carry you through whatever it needs to carry you through. The human spirit is an incredible thing, and it can last a lot. It can last a lot, through a lot. It can endure a lot more than we think, but we need joy in order to keep that fire burning. So finding that one thing, or finding several things that bring you happiness. When you find yourself debilitated, and you find yourself like laying back and not able to do much, you have that one thing that can keep you company, or those two things that can keep you company, that can keep you going. And I find that's actually more important than being able to match the perp's violence with violence, because they already got us covered in that. Genuine happiness is something they don't understand and will never understand. So we can just have that, you know? So, you know, maybe the key isn't to match fire with fire at all. Maybe it's just to stick to what we're best at, stick to what we understand. I don't know if that makes sense, but now I gotta go because I'm watching Stranger Things, and I'm on the second season actually, because I'm playing catch up with everything, because everybody's talking about it. Playing catch up, and Joyce is my favorite character. She is my absolute favorite character of the entire series. There are so many good protagonists in this thing, protagonists and antagonists in this thing. So many good, compelling characters, actors. Oh, the whole nine, just wonderful. Um, but Joyce, it's Joyce for me, man. Listen, I feel like there's some kind of parallel between Joyce and Eleven for some reason. I don't know, but I feel like the series is building up to that. But let's see what happens. Anyway, I gotta go. I love you guys very much. Take care. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.